with the caveat. And I'll get into it. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another I'm Sorry podcast here. And I'm your host, Ryan Gibson. And today I'm going to be talking to you about something that's near and dear to my heart, along with this dust that's in my eye. We're going to be talking a little bit about, I'm sorry, dating sucks. And I wish I could echo it. I'm going to ask my producer, Sam, to make sure that when I say that when he edits this together, that he puts, I'm sorry, dating sucks. So I want that to be a thing. Right, Sam? So let's make sure that happens. So I want to talk about this primarily because and the caveat for me is pre-marriage and then post-divorce. So I really want to talk about both sides of it, because for me, it's been a whole kinds of journey on both sides of it. So when we think about dating, as always, we want to talk about our definitions of things. So I'm going to pull up my computer here and take a look. And the definition of dating is a stage of romantic relationships in which two individuals engage in an activity together, most often with the intention of evaluating each other's suitability as a partner in a future relationship, a social or romantic appointment or engagement. I actually really love that definition. I want to read it again because I really like what it says. And I don't know that many of us, as we're thinking about dating, that many of us even look at dating that way. So dating is a stage of romantic relationship in which two individuals engage in an activity together, most often with the intention of evaluating each other's suitability as a partner in a future relationship. Now, real talk, how many of us actually, and there's things happening in the universe, so apologies for the background noise because the world keeps going and we won't stop. So in which two individuals engage in an activity together to evaluate each other. How often do we actually think in terms of dating as an evaluation? I probably have said pre-marriage, my ex-wife, that at the time that I was dating, I don't know that I was dating with intention. And a lot of people talk about, I've heard that said during my lifetime, the intentionality of dating, people dating intentionally, meaning that they're on a date with the purposes of finding the wife, the husband, the whatever, right? The long-term thing of it all. Most of us tend to spend our times dating, myself included, for the fun of it. Like prior in my 20s, early 30s, I primarily dated without a thought about who I was trying to be with, whether or not it was going to be a long-term thing or a short-term thing or a one-night thing. It was really more about just probably not wanting to be alone. And I think a lot of us probably still do that. We're walking around here in these, as we always talk about, the journey of us and what we need to be dealing with and what we need to be addressing and what we need to be expressing, is this energy of being in a space where you are not always happy with you alone. And it took me a long time to get to a place where now I can honestly say, I'll go out on a date with me. Because if I use that definition and put it towards myself, individual engagement activity together, most often with the intention of evaluating each other's suitability as a partner in a future relationship. My relationship with myself has become, over time, the most significant relationship I have in my life. And making sure that I am doing right by me has been so super important to me that I make sure that I'm taking the steps. So when I look back at my time, I say tongue-in-cheekly, at my time dating, I look at all the either missed opportunities to ask the deeper questions, and you're probably asking, what are the deeper questions? Who are you? Tell me who you are. Tell me what you want from your life. Tell me where you want to go. People often will, when I've asked people who they are, they usually will tell me their name. They'll usually tell me their gender. They'll tell me their job. They'll tell me their career path. But we don't often take time. When was the last time you looked in the mirror, deeply stared into the eyes of yourself, or as one of my friends says out here, the windows of your soul? Look deeply into the windows of your soul and ask yourself, who am I? What is it that you want out of this life that you've been given? And where are you going? I know I'm getting all super, super deep, but when we're talking about dating, but the reality is what are we dating for? more often than not, I think it feels super unintentional. And I am okay with unintentionality. I'm okay with someone saying, I'm in a space where I'm not really looking for anything serious, as long as you've conveyed that to the other person who may be looking for something serious, because then that's when you end up with problems, because you're in a relationship or in a date ship or a situation ship with someone who is looking for more than you're prepared to give. So I really recommend that you be honest up front, first and foremost with yourself about what you want, what you need, what you're going into it for, and what your expectations are, if any. Because if the reality is that you have no expectations beyond this date, that could be fine, but it might not be fine with the other person. So give them at least the option to opt out of getting complicated and getting pulled into something so deep that it ends up hurting. Hey, they turned off their sound. That's the next door neighbors making a lot of noise. We got to have to get a soundproof booth at some point so that stuff doesn't bleed in. But it's okay, because life happens and we keep it pushing. So when I think about my dating journey and I go back in time and I look many moons ago at what I was doing in those dates and if there was an intention, the intention was probably to see if I can end up in bed. I mean, reality of it was I was a little bit of a dog, in the sense of I was a good dog. I was trying to be a good guy. But at the same time, I was still a male who wanted that sexual connection. And I think that sometimes, I can't speak for women, but the women that I know who've spoken to me about it, they've told me that's what they wanted to sometimes. There've been situations where they just want the date to end in a one-night stand or a moment or nothing at all, and then keep it pushing. And I have to respect that. And that's okay. I think that we all end up in these spaces where we're asking the other person to fulfill a need, a deeper need that we ourselves aren't even fully aware of, an unconscious need to be loved, to be held, to be felt, to feel special. And I know that at some point in time, I think I've done all of that. I've wanted somebody to just hold me, somebody to listen, wanted to be made to feel special. There was a time in my life where I made poor choices as far as the dating world was concerned, where I mixed dating and usury, if I could use it like that, together, and was really intentionally seeing these women, knowing that I was getting something more out of it than they were. Usually something financial, or being, I got to drive their car. I mean, I was that guy for about 6 months, and I did not like the person I was becoming. So I made an adjustment, as many of us will when you realize what you're doing. I don't think I consciously went into that space trying to harm or hurt anyone. And I don't think I did hurt anyone, but except for myself. But the realities of it is, when you're walking around living an unintentional life, you will affect everyone around you unintentionally. So I know I've sort of varied it a little bit. Some people might be like, what does this have to do with dating? It comes back to the same thing. Are you intentionally dating? Are you going down the dating path with a specific purpose in mind? Do you want to be in a long-term relationship, a short-term relationship, a no-term relationship, an open relationship? Are you clear with yourself about what's real and what's necessary for you? Excuse me. And if you are, then it becomes easier, I feel, to find what you're looking for. Because I think everybody's probably heard this phrase, the universe abhors a vacuum, meaning that when you create a vacuum, wherever a space where there's no air, and you open it up, it will automatically get filled with air, with something. So think about your relationship or your dating ship as the same thing. If you go into that with a clear sense of what you want, what you need, what you're asking for, then when you open up that space to the universe, to God, to the world, whatever that is will flow into it. The thing in which you are asking for will show up. I had a young lady talk to me the other night. She was telling me about this guy she was going to see, and he was going to come visit. Not visit, he was moving. I'm sorry. He was moving to where she lived. And I was excited for her because she was excited. So I was in the support of her excitement. And then as we talked more, I started to get that little feeling in the back of my neck where I was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. And then when he was supposed to come, guess what? He didn't show. And I immediately was hurt for her because I felt her excitement around this, her wanting this to work out. And my concern moving forward is that she'll go back and probably try to be the apologist for his bad behavior. And now their relationship is starting on this really uneven space where he didn't show up, he didn't do what he said he was going to do. And she's going to apologize for him not doing what he said he was going to do, just so that she, in the end, can get what she wants, which is for him to be here. And my thought process around that is, that's going to end badly. And then later you're going to get mad at him when he doesn't show up again in another space in the way that you might want. But whose fault would that be at that point? Yours. You know, it took me a long time to get to a place within my journey to realize that all the relationships I've been in, the good, the bad, the dysfunctional, that all of them, I played a significant role in them, including my divorce and my marriage. I can't sit here and put all of that on the ex-wife and say, she did. I could. I very much could. But at the end of the day, it takes two people. She wasn't in a relationship by herself, and neither was I. I had choices, I had options, I had things I could have said and things I could have done. I think that every one of us is always looking for love, like the song says, looking for love in all the wrong places. We're all doing that. We're all looking for love. Sorry. We're all looking for something that connects us, grounds us, puts us in a place that feels happy, joyful, whatever. Sam, my producer, I'm sure as I look at him, Sam, you're looking for love, right? Like everybody else, correct? Yeah, he's shaking his head, yes. So I look at Sam and I go, he's not any different than you guys out there. We're all looking for connection. Anyone that says they're not looking for connection, I don't know who broke you, and I'm sorry. I don't know what they did to you, I'm sorry. I don't know what damage was caused to you that you have not addressed, but it's time to start addressing it. Because in the end of the day, we come into this earth alone, into a space with millions upon millions of people to experience each other. And if you only sit and experience you, there's no growth in that. There's no transformation in that. There's no more in that. And I would be very saddened if that was somebody's entire life experience, that they didn't get a chance to experience all of it. All these people, all these connections, the good, the bad, and the dysfunctional. Because that's how you learn about who you are, what you want, where your line is. So when I think about dating now post-divorce, that's been an interesting journey. So I'll tell you a story. So when I started, when I let myself, let me say it like that, when I let myself be open to the potential of seeing someone, it was random. It was with unintentional energy. It was more of a test, I think, when I look back on it retrospectively. I think I was, in the moment, I thought I was being intentional, but in reality, I was being unintentional because I wasn't ready, one, to start dating. And for those of you that have broken up in a relationship, because when I talk divorce is like the highest level. But the reality is you're talking about anyone who's ever broken up with someone, who's had their heartache, and then had to start dating again later. That initial toe tap into the water is sometimes very interesting. And I'd love to hear some of your stories, so please share them, of what it was like for your first little step back into the waters. But for me, it was a very nice lady. Met her, we had a great time, we connected. I was doing this thing, I was away from home, so that helped, because it was like outside of my world. And I was staying at a hotel, and she was staying there as well. And we happened to be in the room when she was dealing with a client and I was working, and I had my headphones on, but a little of her conversation bled through. And she was giving him the business. I mean, she was making it very hard for this man who was apparently trying to hit on her. She kept weaving it very expertly. I had to give her credit, expertly back to the topic of the business. And so I started, you know how you do. You're sitting there, you're not really listening. And then all of a sudden something comes, you hear a word or a phrase, and then you're like, what? So I don't even remember what that phrase was, but I remember I did that thing that we all do. You kind of lift your headphones up just a little bit, just so that a little bit of that comes in. And then I sort of was half listening, eavesdropping basically. So I'm listening to this conversation and she's just expertly giving him the business, not letting him. He's trying. I had to give him credit. He was trying. He was trying real hard to make a move on this woman, and she was not having it. She was making this very clear line that he wanted to keep skirting, that this was a business conversation and I'm not talking about anything else. And then she became aware, as people will want, that I was listening. And she looked over and she said something to me. I don't remember what it was, but it was something tongue-in-cheek, funny. And I laughed. And then the guy started talking to me. And then we ended up in this little triangle conversation. And I was now I became pulled into their world like I wasn't already. So now we're having this conversation. And by the end of it, the dude walked over to me and he was like, let me know what the sex is going to be like. And I was like, dude, I couldn't believe he said that. It was so crass. But sadly, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, pretty much, because I was attracted to her and I was hopeful. And we ran into each other a few more times in the hotel, chatted each other up, sat down and had lunch or dinner one day, had some drinks, laughed. About 2 weeks in, after we had been talking, because I was there for a good while at this hotel, we hooked up. So when that happened, I was super excited. It was my first time, hanging out with her was like dating-ish, dating adjacent. And I was excited because I didn't know, after my breakup, after the divorce, after the pain and struggle of that, I honestly could tell you I wasn't sure I could do it again. Because as many of us know, when you break up or when your relationship falls apart, or however you want to phrase it, it's painful. People liken it to death, the death of something. And you have to go through the stages, the anger, the grief, and all of the stages of coming to terms with the end of this thing that, for me, I did not want to end. I had not planned on, I didn't go into my marriage with the expectation that it was going to end. I don't know that anyone does. And if you do, you shouldn't. I went into it with forever in mind. That's what I wanted. That's what I expected. That's what I hoped for. And that's what I thought I was working towards. So when I had to make the choice, and I did, it was my choice. I'm the one who filed, that this wasn't going to work. It was the most painful thing I'd ever done in my life. Beyond anything I'd ever experienced before, that was the single most painful thing I'd ever experienced in my life, that time period. So when I got to this place where I was prepared to allow this woman back into that semi-intimate space, right? It was heady and exciting, and I was looking forward to it in a very meaningful way. And then, I was in my room, and it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. It's been so long. How do I prepare? And you go through all these things in your head. And I did all the things that I thought I was supposed to do. You shower, you change, you do brush your teeth, all of those things, right? Manscape for those, you manscape. Everything you do to make sure that in case, because I wasn't sure. Because like I said, it had been so long. I'd been married for 12, 13 years, together with her for 15 total. So it had been a really long time since I had been in this scenario. So when this lovely woman, and she really was, or really is, she came over and we sat down and we watched some television and we talked, and then it transitioned into this sexual space. I was legitimately excited and legitimately ready to go, until I realized that my ex-wife was in the room too. She wasn't actually in the room. This was in my mind. I could see her. She was sitting right next to me on the bed, looking at me going, is this what we're doing? Really? Is this what you're doing? And that was, for me, the wake-up call that I wasn't ready, for this, that the work I thought I had done to prepare myself for the post-divorce dating world, I just wasn't ready. Because even when I thought about post-divorce dating, it was one of those things that scared the bejesus out of me. Because I remember sitting there trying to figure out, how do you even begin? Like when I met my ex-wife, it was random. She lived across the street from a friend of mine. I literally saw her on the street corner talking with her sister and waved and said hello, and the rest was history. But the reality of that in this new world of digital communication and everything, and people meeting each other online and all this stuff, I found it like, legitimately scary. And I'm sure many of us and many of you do this idea. And it wasn't a function of being older or anything like that. It was just a function of, I didn't know where I would go to connect with someone in a real way. Because I would hear all the stories from all my friends about this woman and that woman, or this guy and that guy, and how they met online and it turned out to be a disaster, or the guy wasn't who he said he was, or the girl was not who she claimed to be, or whatever. So you get into these spaces where you start asking yourself, well, where do you go? And I don't know that I was necessarily looking for love, because I almost said, where do you find love at the time, or even now? I was never, I'm a romantic. I'll admit it. I like dating when I'm in it. I like the getting to know someone. I like the peeling back the onion and learning who they are and we connecting. I'm down for all of that. I'm the flowers and the chocolates and let's go sit together on the couch, boot up. I'm about all of that. But the reality of it is that how do you even get there when the journey to there seems so complicated in your mind? And post that experience, I dated maybe twice more, and then sort of made a conscious effort that I was dating in the wrong energy, because I was dating with this energy of I think I was looking for somebody to heal me. You were looking for somebody to be the salve on the wound. I was looking for some woman to pop up and show me that women aren't terrible, because some part of my mind had that running around in my head. And I was looking for somebody to fix that wound, a wound that's not for them to fix, that I have to fix. And I did it. I mean, I said that so fast, I had to check myself. I'm doing it because I realize that is consistent work as much as anything else is. When you have been injured, wounded, when you have been hurt, it does not happen overnight. It's not simple. It's not easy. It takes time. I give myself grace, and I'm saying this now as much to you guys as to myself. I give myself grace to sit in the space and to be okay in those moments when I'm not okay. And then pick myself up once those moments pass and begin to do the work again. Because there are definitely moments, I still have moments, where I'll be watching the most randomest thing. Like a commercial the other day, because I have kids, and I saw the commercial with a father playing with his children, and oh my God, I saw that commercial. I was boo-hooing because I miss my baby so much, but there's also a connected tissue to that. I miss my babies. I miss what should have been, what might have been, what could have been. I miss that as well. So I know that I'm still in the process of healing, but even in the healing, it doesn't mean that I can't be open to love or to a relationship or to more. And I did. And when I came to Botswana, when I came to Africa, I started dating again, intentionally, for fun, and was very clear with all the young ladies I went out with. I was like, yeah, I'm not looking for anything serious. That's not where I'm at. So if you want something serious, I respect it. I'm not your guy. I'm just not there. I'm just looking to have a good time, companionship, hang out. Anything more than that, not this guy, right? So, and that happened. And then I met someone, as you will want. And in one of those moments of confusion and what the hell have I walked into, I knew it immediately this was going to be a problem. The moment that we started talking, I was like, oh my God, she's amazing. And I don't want to turn this into a blog about love, but it was very much one of those things that it shakes you. And then you start asking yourself, what do I do with this? Because I could see myself falling for her. But was I ready? So I became these dual people, or double-minded as my boy Denim will say, because I was both interested and trying to be uninterested, because I didn't want to get hurt again, because I could see myself caring about her in a way that I hadn't cared about anyone in a very long time. So as you think about the dating that you're doing, especially for those post-breakup, I urge you all to do your work, to really look at yourself, at your own healing and your own maturation, so that you can make sure that when you're ready, like truly ready. And I know people are like, wait a minute, what happened with her? It's different. That's a podcast for a different day. You want to know what happened? Well, I'll let you know when I know. It's a work in progress. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm doing the work. I'm making sure that I'm okay, because it's not easy, man. Post-divorce relationships. I recall the first time that I even thought about a relationship. I was going to a restaurant. It was out of someone's home, and they were selling, I'm from Trinidad, and they were selling Trinidadian food out of their home. And I went to pick up food for the family, and I picked up the roti and everything else that was ordered, the rice and peas, and just a lot of really good food. And I'm standing there, and there was this beautiful woman. She was dishing out the food into the things. And I had been waiting for a little bit. And I said something smart, something like, how long am I have to wait? Do I need to come back there? Y'all need me to come back there and help? Because I'm willing to come back there and help. Give me a hairnet and some gloves, and I'll help out. And she turned around and gave me this look and laughed and said something equally smart. I can't remember what it was. But whatever it is that she said elicited a laugh from me that was hearty and real and profound, because I didn't think I had laughed like that in a long time. And then she said something else, and I said something else, and then we started bantering, even as she was. And there were people around, and I could tell it was one of those things where if other people were there, they'd be looking at us going, get a room. Why don't you guys just go get a room and go sit and talk? Because we all watching this happen. But I also knew for a fact I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for what she was, this adult woman who would have needs and wants. I wasn't in a space to give anybody anything except this little bit of flirtation. But by the time we were done and I was walking away to my car, because I asked her, I said, you're going to help me take my stuff to the car? Because I really wanted her to take it with me. At the time, I wanted to get her number. And I was hopeful that if she came with me, I'd get her number. But what ended up happening is I knew I wasn't ready. A part of me knew I wasn't ready. So when she said, give me a second, and then I sat there for a moment, and then her sister or mother or whoever that was said, let me help you, because they hadn't seen the interaction, and they picked up the stuff. I was like, okay. And I went and I took my stuff to the car, and I remember I sat in the car for a second and thought about going back just to get her number or to give her mine. But I knew I wasn't ready. I knew that if I went back and gave her my number, it would be an ego thing. I was doing it because egotistically, I wanted to do it. I wanted to beat my chest and show how much of a man I was in this moment. But in the end, all I would have done would have probably hurt her, hurt myself, gotten her hopes up that this might be something, or gotten my hopes up that it might be something when I wasn't ready for something. So I think that as we look at our lives in terms of dating and pre-serious relationships, post-serious relationships, I think the catchword, the buzzword that I find myself living with today is intentionality. Being clear about what it is that you're wanting from the other person, and also being clear that they're aware of it. It's great that you know what you want. Beautiful. Do they know what you want? Have you had that conversation? Are they okay with it? Are they in alignment with it? Do they have a counter proposal? Are you okay with the counter proposal? I think a lot of us, again, are in these situationships masquerading as relationships when we really knew or know that this is only short term, that you have no intention of being in this longer than a couple months, a couple weeks, a couple days. Right, Sam? Yeah, Sam's sitting there going, because he was shaking his head real hard. He's like, So you want to be intentional. So I know there were some questions that you guys had asked. So I want to dip into these questions. So how does it feel to date post-divorce? Ha! Okay. So that's such a feeling question. Oh, the train is coming by? The train is zooming by, guys. We have a train that passes literally, I'm going to get real close, literally right outside the studio, and the whole world rumbles when it goes by. So Sam was giving me the train's coming, and it seems to only happen like once every few days. So we don't even know what the schedule is, but it's, just like everything else, just like relationships, just like life, just like things happen in the most random ways, and you have to push through. So we're pushing through. But back to the question, how does it feel to date post-divorce? Because that's a feeling question. It's not a situational question. It's not an action question. You want to know what I'm feeling. Terrified. Honestly. Terrified that, and it's very selfish terrified. I'm terrified that I'm going to get hurt again. I'm terrified that I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to let somebody in, that I'm going to let them in as deeply as I let in my ex, that I'm going to allow myself to be that vulnerable and that close to someone, and that they will rip me to shreds. The other part of it is that I'm also terrified that I'm not going to be able to do that I'm not going to be able to let someone in, connect with someone in a real way, because of the insecurity and the fear that I'm going to get hurt, that I'm going to allow them in and they're just going to rip me to shreds. So those are constants. Like even now in this relationship that I'm in now, I find myself still having moments of terror that, this woman's going to, and I'm jokingly have said it to her. I said, you're going to kill me. You're going to destroy me. Because I feel myself, even as I say that, my heart kind of did a little jumpy jump, because I felt the energy of that. Because when I love deeply, and I tend to go all in. If you're my friend, as we talked about on previous episodes of the podcast, if you're my friend, you're my friend. Until you're not. And when you're not, you're not. And I promise you, when you're not, you never will be again. So it's hard when you love as deeply as I do to be in a space where you find yourself debating with you about how best to express your feelings to someone controlled, so that you're not giving them everything. But I don't know how to do it any other way. And maybe that's the work I have to continue to do. I don't know. So if someone has any advice on that, I'm open. I'm super open, because I want to be, as we all do, I want to be loved. I want to give love in return. I want to feel safe with someone. I want to feel like I can trust someone. All of those things, we all want that, right? But there's the but. But are you prepared? Am I prepared? Are you prepared for the potential of what that means on the other side? Because there is the other side. And I think I've intellectualized a lot in these last few months the emotions that are involved in reconnecting with another person in an intimate, emotional, real way, and what that requires from you or from me, and whether or not I'm prepared to pay the requirement. I don't know. Oh, I'm getting all deep, getting misty-eyed, people. Got me in my feelings. Great question. Thank you for that question. How does it feel to date post-divorce? Terrified. To answer it again, Next question. What are some difficulties? And I'm reading these for the first time because I like to not have read them beforehand. What are some difficulties you went through as a divorcee in the dating world? Okay. So that's more story time. What are some of the difficulties you went through as a divorcee in the dating world? Okay. I don't know how to start the conversation on that first date anymore because in your head, you've heard the stories. Don't talk about your ex. Don't talk about don't, all the don'ts, right? And then you're sitting there and the other person's like, so tell me about you. And you're like, I'm Ryan. I'm a writer, producer, blah, blah. You start talking about that stuff. I have 3 kids. And you tell their names. Maybe you'll tell their ages. And then they go, oh, were you married? And I'm like, yeah, I'm divorced. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, don't be, because if things were good, it wouldn't be divorced. It's the sorry, not sorry, right? And then immediately in my mind, you want to go, okay, we got to change the subject because then we'll end up talking about this. But inevitably, we end up talking about this. And in my mind, I'm like, isn't this what we're not supposed to be talking about? Like, I'm not supposed to be hearing about your exes. You're not supposed to be hearing about my exes. But then you realize there's no rules to these dating quagmire. It's you go into it and you have conversations about whatever's organic and real and true at the time. But it has been interesting because sometimes you get some interesting stories on the other side. I was out the other night and this young lady, and I guess it could be constituted as a date, even though it was a date. I mean, I could try to play it off and make it not a date because I found myself on many a date that I didn't know was a date until after the fact because I didn't realize I had said yes to a date. I thought I had said yes to maybe a hangout or I'd said yes to a business meeting. And then you realize no business is being transpired, that there's only conversations about you and her. But this particular one, I low-key thought it might be a date. So I went into it with this energy of this might be a date. And as we talked, it had date energy, but we talked about our other relationships that we were in. And I remember thinking what a nice person she is, or she appears to be on this first interaction. But also at the same time, she's been through a lot. And so have I. And I know from my pre-marriage dating time, I was Captain Save 'em. And for those who don't know what that means, I was the guy who put on the cape very proudly and would meet the woman and then she'd tell me her stuff. And I would be in the business of bringing out the tools and starting to repair her stuff. When in reality, what that was, I learned in therapy, was me projecting, cleaning up her stuff so I didn't have to look at my own. And when I got to a place where I realized that was what it was, I made adjustments. And I put the tools away. I haven't taken the tools out in many a moon. They're sitting in a dusty closet hole somewhere. But this interaction, this date, I felt like I wanted to reach for those tools. But I also realized, we're not dating. I wouldn't date her. As nice as she is, I would friend her up. We would become friends. I'd friend zone her really fast. And who knows, because once you friend zone someone doesn't mean that they stay in the friend zone. Anything could happen in the future. But now I just want to keep her in the friend zone because she's a sweetheart. She's such a nice woman and I want nothing but the best for her. But I don't know that that's me because right now my stuff is complicated. My stuff is really complicated. And as I'm in this relationship with this woman now, this other woman, I feel like I want to give that the time it requires to either fully realize or fully fizzle out. Right now, we're in a fully pause-ish. She misses me. I miss her. I want to see her. She wants to see me. I'm not sure what we're doing. So if somebody knows, if anybody else has been in this spot, again, send me your thoughts. Maybe you can explain to me what the heck I'm doing. because I'm on pause right now. We're both on pause, but we keep calling each other and wanting to see each other. And I don't know. It's to get into the depths of it would require a whole episode unto itself. Was there another question? No. I'm going to do something. Something I haven't done. Sam, do you have a question? Because he's here. So see, he's sitting here, and I'm not sitting here by myself. And the last podcast we did, at the end of it, we always ask Sam, and usually our other producer, but she's out sick today. What do you guys think? How was it? What's the feedback? And the last one, Sam said something that threw me. And I was like, really? I didn't see that coming. So I said, I told myself, next time I'm going to put him on the spot. I'm going to ask him a question in the middle. And he's over there like this. What? Sam, I'll make you famous. You don't have to get on camera, but just tell me. Do you have any questions? Or a question? Go ahead. I see it on your face. There's a question forming. Don't let dead air, producer. Don't let there be dead air. Pressure. You have something? He's just dying. He's dying. It's going to come to you. But where are we at time? Are we good? All right, great. So I want to just keep going down this road of the importance of, we're always bringing this always back to self. So when I started this, the I'm Sorry podcast, again, I didn't necessarily want to do this because this is very vulnerable. This is you giving you to the world in a way that can be scary because you're not always aware of you're 100% not aware of what people are going to receive, what they're going to hear, what they're going to take away, what they're going to think of you. But I've long since realized that what someone thinks of me is none of my business. So you guys get to think what you think. You get to believe what you believe. You get to go down whatever road you want to go down. I just hope that you go down it and you do it honestly for yourself and start examining these things, because we're always pushing at the end of the day in the I'm Sorry podcast that we're talking about self-reflection, self-exploration, self-discovery. And for me, seeing who I was pre-dating. And I'll go back to that time when I was going through it. It was like 2007 or 6 or something like that. And financially, I was in a hole. I think there was a strike in the industry, in the film and television industry. So I think that affected some things. But even if there wasn't, I don't think it would have mattered. I was just in a bad place. And during that time, there were some women in the neighborhood who I knew or had known and knew that they liked me or seemed to like me. And one